In this lesson you're going to learn how to draw a Moshi Monster style cartoon character using Photoshop. The reason for doing this is so that you learn how the different layers work in a graphics package, how you can group different layers together to make a particular shape or image, and of course in doing that how to use the different tools that are in Photoshop. For example, being able to move different objects around the canvas, being able to select and modify those shapes, actually add different shapes onto the canvas to create your own character. You'll notice that the tools down the side have little arrows that point down to the bottom right. What that means is that there are additional options on that tool, and the way you get to them is you press and hold the mouse down until the tools pop up, and then you select the tool that you want. The first thing that you're going to need to do is to create a new canvas. So you will go to File, New, and for this particular exercise select Photo and then Default Photo Size. It doesn't really matter what size image, but this is a kind of standard photograph size, and it allows you to create a good quality image whilst not taking up loads and loads of disk space. If you make the image too big, you won't be able to save it into your own work area, and actually there's no point in creating an image that is massive for what we're doing. Once you've done that, you click Create, and this gives you your blank canvas area which you're going to draw on. The first thing that you should do once you've created the new one is to go File and do a Save As and give it a name. To call it my Moshi. You may find as you're starting to use Photoshop that various new messages pop up as you go for the first time. When you do the save, one of the things that I'm sure that you will get is it will ask you about compatibility. So when you do a save, you'll get a compatibility message. It's a box that will appear here, and there's a little tick box here that says ensure compatibility. Turn that off, because what it does is it can make your image when you save it 4 or 5 times bigger than it needs to be. And then you can click, there's another little box here that says do not show this message again, and then if you turn those off, then it's done and it shouldn't come back. So the next bit is we will get on with actually creating the image itself. Okay, so we're going to start with the eye. So I'm going to select the existing one that I've already made just as a model, and I'm going to copy that, Control C, and paste it onto this page, which is Control V. Just put it up there just so you can see what we're making. Also, the eye is actually made up of a group of different objects. If we were to take this one object and we ungrouped it, then what you will see is various different parts to it. A little bit there. That little bit there is the white bit that's supposed to be like a reflection in the eye. So when we put the eye together, we're going to use the ellipse, and we'll draw the ellipse on, and we want to set the colour of it. So we want the fill colour here to be white. Now that there means that it's no fill at all, it's transparent, you can see through it. That's a solid fill, and that is a gradient fill. So we want a white fill, and the stroke, the outline to it, is going to be our purple colour. So that creates our first circle. We're then going to put in our next circle here, which is going to be black in the middle, and on the outside it's going to have a blue area. In fact, I didn't click on it properly to start off with, so I'm going to do the fill, right, and I want black in the middle, so we get that. Okay, so the next one that we want is just to put in a circle. This one is going to be white with no outline at all, so that's the little reflective part. So I'm going to use the move tool to move them around. Move that over there just now. The problem is it's white, so I can't see where it is. I'm going to leave it there. Just move that one there. Put that there. Okay. And then the next stage is this crescent shaped here is actually two different ellipses. So there's one, and if I just copy and paste it, so I've got two next to each other, and again because it's white on white I can't see it very well, so I'm going to actually set the colour of it to grey just so that I can see it. And there should be another one here somewhere. I copied it. Just move it up there. So there's another one there. No, I didn't copy it. Okay, so I'm going to copy it. Control C, Control V. There's two there. So I'm going to put this one just here. Let's turn on. So use this tool. I'm just going to put a line around the outside of it so I can see it. So that's probably about right there. And there. Shift key. Right, so I've got the two ellipses selected there, and then what I do is I go to layer and combine shapes and subtract the front shape from the one behind, so I end up with this crescent shape. Now if I just select this tool, then I can change the fill colour to grey, turn off the outline, and I get my crescent shape there. And I can move this. I've got to click actually on there, not on there, on the actual shape. Move it down here. Now it's not quite the right size at the moment, so if I do Control plus, I can zoom in on it, and what I want to do is I just want to resize it to get it to fit where I want it to go. So click off of it. So I think that's pretty good like that. Okay, so that is one eye. But if I want to move it or I want to copy it, the problem is that I might end up dragging a part of it away, and actually I want to keep it all together. So what I'm going to do is to select the whole area by dragging around it like this, and this selects a whole set of layers. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I can turn them on and off to see what they are there. Now once I've got them selected, I can go to layer and then to group layers. If you want use the shortcut, use Control G. and that's grouped them together. So that becomes one object which I can move around. And to help me work with it, I'm actually going to double click here, right, and I'm going to call this, I'm actually going to type in what the part is. So I'm going to put in I. Now when I move this around, now I move the whole eye around. Now just have a clear up. I'm going to get rid of these other bits that I had. Select that bit there. Get rid of that as well. Okay, so here's my eye. Move it around. That was my original one. That's the one I've just made. If I press the Alt key down and drag, it automatically creates a second one for me. I can adjust the size of it just like this. Okay, so I have my two eyes. Okay, so the next stage is to draw the mouth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this one that I've done already as a model. So Control C, and there's my eyes. So I'm going to put that on there. So I'm going to show you how to draw the mouth. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start off with, I'm going to zoom in, make it a bit easier to see, and we're going to use ovals, ellipses again. So we'll put an ellipse on like this. Now at the moment it's the wrong shape, but what we can do by using this tool here, selection tool, is we can select points on our shape, and if we click this point here, we can pull it down, we can change the shape. If it asks us to do this, we say yes. And what you'll also notice is that this little point here, it's grown some whiskers, and on those whiskers, if you click them, you can, I've got the mouse button down there, so I've clicked on it and I'm holding the mouse button down. Okay, and as I move it up and down, it changes the way that the curve works, and also as I pull it out the way, right, it changes how it works. So give this a go. You click on the whisker and you hold the mouse button down, and you move the mouse around to change its position. However, I want it to look a little bit like this, so I'm going to take this point here, bring that down, I'm going to bring that up there a little bit, bring that up there a little bit, and bring this down here a bit more, so it looks a bit like this shape. Okay, now obviously the colours are wrong, so I'm going to use the fill tool again, and I'm going to select my colour. That's the fill colour, and then the line around the outside, it doesn't really have one, but I think I've put a white line around it and a shadow, but we'll come back to that in a minute. That's not really quite the right colour, so I'm just going to change it again. I'm going to go for, I'm going to use this tool here, and then I can pick up the colour off of there using the eyedropper. Click OK. So that's exactly the same colour now. Right, then the next bit is to add in the lips. So I'm going to do the same thing with this ellipse here, there. Okay, didn't want to create that one, so pointer tool. Oh, it's moved it over there. Right, okay, so it's not what I wanted. Right, now here's a little problem. When I've tried to move the shape, right, it's all together in one group, and the reason for that is that when I was creating these additional shapes, I was already on the mouth, and it added these shapes in to that group automatically. So that one, the one I added, was actually ellipse 7, okay, and that one there was ellipse 9. So that's the problem. So what I need to do is I need to move it out of that group. So if I take this here, at the moment it's showing just selected. So if I go back to kind, which is all of them, so there, I want to move that down so it's just above the background and outside of the mouth group. And again, if I do the same thing for this one here, okay, that's ellipse 9, I drag that down just outside, so they're both outside of that group now. So if I select them, I should no, they're not out of the group, they're still inside the group. I've just moved them down in the group. So let's move it down a bit further. You see how this here changed the level, or the what I call the indent, so that needs to be moved down. So they are now outside of the group. So if I collapse the group, I can still see them, and you can see how this one's selected, and that's part of that. Let's just click over here. That's that one. That's that one. Okay, so as I'm doing this, I'm getting a few bits wrong, but I want to show you, because you need to find out how to correct the problems as well. So rather than me just having a perfect example to start off with, is better when you see mistakes, because you learn more. The problem now is that when I copied it, I did manage to copy create two of these shapes here, and this one here is still part of this group. That's why it's moving around. I'm going to delete this later on anyway, but if I wanted to get rid of it, what I could do is I could select it, so I know that's ellipse 8, that's what I've got, and then hit delete and it's gone. So that's got rid of that one. Now this one, just to check what I want, that's on its own, that one's on its own. Now this one here needs to have a darker outline but a black fill color to it. So select direct selection tool, fill color, solid color, black, stroke color there. Want to pick it up and use the eyedropper, but here we go, select that color there, click OK, and it's very thin at the moment, that's why I can't see it, so we'll make it a bit thicker. There you go, so that's that. And I'm going to do the same thing again, where I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to take the shape here, and I want to make it dip down in the middle. Yeah, so let's just take this tool here, click on that point there and bring it down. Again, if it says this, you just say yes to it. I need it to be a bit wider, so I'm going to go up that way with it, up that way with it, like that. That gives me my mouth, and then the white bit that goes inside it, I'm going to try to do that as well. It's a bit trickier, so I'm going to draw that in there. That needs to be white, no stroke around it, and then I'm going to take the points, drag it up to right to the corner. That's the corner there. Drag it down a little bit in the middle. A bit more, that'll do. And if I zoom out, so Control minus, got that. And then there was a nose piece on here as well, and I think that went something like, we had a black oval shaped on there, and then in the middle it had a white one, so it looked something like that. Now this at the moment is all different objects. What I want to do is I want to group it in the same way as I did the mouth. So I'm going to drag around it with my mouse. That has selected all of those different parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of them there, and I'm going to group it. Control G. It's grouped. That's one group. And if I double click here, I'm actually going to give it a name, mouth. So I was just wondering, that was the mouth, that was my other one there, that's that top one there, that's why it's got 2 there. So this one, when I click on it, that's deleted and gone because that was my new one. Control minus to zoom out, and then I'm going to move this, and this is going to go down here. In fact, the eye goes something a bit more like that. That's the mouth done. We've got the eyes. Next bit, we're going to do the head. So the next stage is actually to put the main part of the head in. So again, I'm just going to use the ellipse tool. I'm just going to draw in. Now, based on what I've done before, if you look to the right where I've got my layers, I've got right eye highlighted. So my chances are that I'm going to be adding this ellipse to the right eye, which is not what I want to do. Yeah, there it goes. So it adds it into there. Okay, so that's not what I wanted to happen. Now I can take it out of here once I've drawn it. I can move it out simply by dragging it down, but that's starting to get tricky now because of all the different parts that I've got. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo. I'm going to click on the canvas, move tool, click on the canvas, so I've got nothing selected here, nothing selected. Right, left eye, right eye, mouth. It's nice, and because I've named the groups, it keeps it simple when I collapse them like that. I could do select and Control D deselects everything, so I've got nothing selected at the moment. So when I add in my ellipse, so I add it in now, like that, goes in, it's gone over the top, it's in the wrong order, so I'm going to move it down the order. There we go, so we've got that. It is, oh, I've just moved it into the mouth, I think. Yes, there. Right, let's move it outside. There we go. Okay, so that's correct now. So now I'm going to change the shape of the head to get it how I want. I'm going to use direct selection tool again, click on the shape, and I need some extra points in here to change the shape of it. So I'm going to go to add anchor point, and I click on the edge where the cursor turns to a little plus, 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 plus. So they've added little points in there, and then when I use this tool, what I can do is I can stretch out like this, stretch out that one like that, maybe stretch that up there. So I'm using this tool again, which you're going to get used to using, and I've created kind of a square shaped head for my Moshi. Now another technique, let me get this, I'm going to select everything, move it down the page a bit, is this idea of getting some spikes for some hair, maybe on there. This is how I'm going to start off anyway. So I'm going to add in some extra anchor points. So I've got everything selected at the moment. I need just that one, which is the head. Just need the head selected, then add anchor point. Now I want a spike to come up here for a bit of hair, so that anchor point there will stay in the right place, and that will stay, but I need a spike, so I'm going to create an anchor point there, so that fixes it there. Create another one here, and then I'm going to drag that one up like that. Then I'm going to click here to add a new one. Notice the cursor changes to a plus. I've got one there, got one there. Click on it again, drag it in, take that one, drag it up. So I get this kind of arc shape. So I'm going to do this again here. So that one's okay. I need that to stay there, but I want another one here. So get that one in. Right, drag it up over to the side, click, drag it out, click, drag it out. Okay, and I'm going to do another one. Click there, one in the middle, that up there like that. Oops, middle, that's it. One, there we go. So I've created some sort of wacky hairdo on my Moshi. Okay, so the next bit was to add in a fringe here. So firstly I'm going to make sure that I don't have anything selected, so I'm not adding it in to another group, which I've made that mistake several times before. Then I'm going to get the curvature pen, and the way this works is I'm going to go click, press, I'm going to try this out. If I press the Alt key down, I think it gives me a square, a point rather than a curve, but that's not working at all now. Right, it is working, but it's very slow. Point, 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 point. There we go. Then what I do is I click in the middle there where it's a plus, drag it in, click in the middle there, drag it in, click in the middle there, drag it in, click in the middle of that one, drag it in, click in the middle of that one, drag it in, click in the middle of that one, drag it in. So I get this kind of fringe, and I need to move that point there, so I'm going to bring that in there like that. And there you go, there's my fringe. I am going to get purple, around the outline for it. Let's do that. I don't want, that's probably a bit too thick, don't want any fill colour in there, so we go no fill. And then if I move that, over there, I get that. And then my actual head part itself, I need a colour on that, so I'm going to stroke around there, same colour. There we go. That looks okay. It's a good starting point.